Alright, so I'm going to try something a little bit differently in this video. The video is going to be on meal frequency, and I'm kind of doing it with a PowerPoint, just because some people are more visual, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to understand when they actually get to look at something, rather than just hear me talk. So, about meal frequency, the question is always, how many meals should you eat per day? And we've all heard that our body is like a furnace, and in order to keep the metabolic fire burning, we have to continuously feed it, eating, again, 6 to 8 times a day. Well, that is a myth. It is untrue. I'm going to show you why it's untrue, and hopefully this makes it easy to understand. So, how many meals should you eat a day? Should you eat 1, 3, 6, or 17? And we start off by talking about the thermic effect of food. The thermic effect of food, or also known as the DIT, which is the dietary induced thermogenesis, which is your body processing the foods that you ate. So, therefore, every time that you eat, there's a thermic effect, which would make you think that the more often you eat, the more that thermic effect or thermogenesis occurs, which would raise your metabolism, right? So it would make more sense to eat 6 to 8 times a day. Well, the reason that's untrue is because, I'll show you why. The TEF does differ for different nutrients and different diets, but typically it's going to be around 10%. So, we're going to do an example, taking two different individuals, saying that person number one, they're both going to eat 3,000 calories. So person number one eats 6 times a day. So his meal frequency is obviously pretty high. 6 times a day, broken down, would be 500 calories per meal. Let's say that, like we said before, the TEF is around 10%, which is an average. 10% of 500, which is how many calories at each meal, is 50, which would be the thermic effect at each meal. Now, if you take that 50 and multiply it by the 6 times a day this person ate, you would get 300. So the total TEF would be 300. Now, if you take person number 2, who's eating the same 3,000 calories, but is only eating 3 times a day, which would give him 3 1,000 calorie meals, the TEF would be 10% as person 1, times 1,000 calories per meal, which equals 100. Now you have that 100, you multiply it by 3 times a day, the end result is still going to be 300. So with that being said, the total thermic effect of the food is exactly the same regardless of the meal frequency. So when people say that your body's going to go into starvation mode or the metabolic fire is going to stop burning, disregard all that. Again, like I said before, yeah, the thermic effect is going to be raised each time that you eat, but in the end, the only thing that dictates your complete and total body composition is going to be your overall 24-hour macronutrient intake and energy balance. That goes to show you that it does not matter how many times per day you eat. What matters is the total macronutrient intake over the course of the day. So, hopefully that answers some questions. There is a lot of controversy on this topic. The only other thing that really goes into this is controlling your appetite and satiety. A lot of people like to eat more throughout the day, not necessarily more calories, but more often. Some people say it stops them from overeating. Well, that's the purpose of tracking calories, to make sure you don't overeat. And when you hear people say your body's going into starvation mode, they really don't understand the whole digestive process and whatnot. It takes a long time to digest a meal, and like I said, with the overall 24 macronutrient intake, people are kind of confused about what's going on inside the body. So with that being said, it does not matter how often you eat. Some people might feel better, perform a little bit better and whatnot, but as far as body composition goes, what matters is the overall 24-hour macronutrient intake. So I hope that clears up some confusion. Again, you can message me if this was a little difficult to understand. I could provide links to you with scientific research that proves this whole method. And the other thing I want to touch on really quick is, you ever hear people say, maybe I'm not losing weight because I don't eat enough. Like, that's a pretty big misunderstanding to my knowledge. If someone says, I don't understand why I'm not losing any weight, people are telling me I'm not eating enough or I'm not eating often enough. Well, to be honest, if you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. So you sure are getting enough calories, you're just not tracking them, so you're unaware of how many you're actually taking in compared to how many you're burning. So that's it. I just did a quick video. Again, if you have any questions, please post it in the comments below or check out my Facebook page at Fusaro Fitness. I'm always answering questions over there. Please don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, and thank you for your support. Bye.